All right, welcome to Upper Body Week 7. Not gonna mess around today, we're just gonna get straight to it. We have Arnold Dumbbell Press, dumbbell side lateral raises, alternating, rotating dumbbell curls, dips, and then we'll finish it off with crunches. Start with Arnold Dumbbell Press. For those of you unfamiliar, the Arnold Dumbbell Press is like a regular overhead dumbbell press, but you start, instead of starting normally with your grip out here, you start supinated, is that the right term? And you rotate as you go up and rotate back down. And it's just to work a few more muscles. It involves the triceps a little bit more, obviously mainly shoulder workout. And we're doing 45. So let's warm up. Let's get these shoulders warmed up with 25s. Alright. And if you recall, our warm-up is always 50% of our working weight. So in this case, I said 45, so I don't have exactly 50%. I went to 25s. We do that for 10 reps. And we rest 2 minutes, and then we do another warm-up set at 50%, 10 reps, and then we'll rest, and then we'll do 75% for 6 to 8 reps, and then we'll rest 2 minutes, and then our working set begins. So we'll do, looks like we're shooting for, we have 3 sets of 40 of this, 3 sets of 9 to 10. Looks like last week we got 9, 10, 9. So we're in that 8 to 12 rep range for this lift. Today it'd be great if we got 2 or 3 of these at 10 reps instead of 2 at 9 and 1 at 10. Yeah, I have talked before about my rep scheme. I try to keep my non-compound lifts, especially shoulders. Don't want to mess this up, so I don't go like the 4 to 6 rep range for those. I stick to that 8 to 12 so that the weight can come down a little bit, and so I can feel like I have a little bit more control over the weight. And that 8 to 12 rep range is great. It's proven in studies to be beneficial for muscle hypertrophy. Now, that being said, volume equated, lower reps, higher weight is also proven to grow muscle as well. I do doing 4 to 6 reps with heavier weight on those compound lifts like bench and squat and deadlift. But yeah, here we are on accessories. So we're doing 8 to 12. That's 8 at 35, so that concludes our warm-up. Next set will be our 45-pound first working set. All right, first working set at 45 pounds. We're shooting for 9 to 10. And we got 10. Thumbs up. Feeling good. Getting warm. Set my timer here. Mark my reps. By the way, I love setting my timer. There's all kinds of ways to set a timer. My workout app has a timer built in, which is great, but sometimes it's over there and I can't really see it or whatever. I got this cheap Casio watch. I forget the model. It's 800H or something like that. And it normally just comes with has dual time, so you can do one time zone and then you can do your normal time zone. Has an alarm, which I never use. And then it normally just comes with a stopwatch. And that's it. But there is this cool hack where the chip in this watch is the same as the chip in the models above it. And the main difference in functionality is that there is a countdown timer. And that's the thing that I need. That's what I want. So I pretty much always am setting a timer for 2 minutes to rest in between my sets. I oftentimes set 2-minute timers for my children, conveniently enough. So I use that feature all the time, but it wasn't available on this one. At least that's what they say. Apparently, since the chip the PCB board is technically the same, has all the same features, all you have to do is open it up and there's a little piece of solder, a little jumper that is preventing that functionality. And so you can either very carefully scrape it off, or if you have a soldering machine, you just very carefully warm it up and suck the solder off. Now you have, I don't know, 15, 20, less than $30, like a $20 watch that has a countdown timer that you use all the time. All right, set 2. we do it a third time? That would be cool. After this, we've got dumbbell side lateral raises. I've done pretty well on calories this week. Just show that real quick. So if you look today, we've had nothing. I'm having my coffee as normal, but go back to Monday and you can see I was a little bit over my 1600 calorie target, which is a buffer. You're like, if your goal is 1800 for the week, then you hit it. That's true, but I like to hit 1600 a couple of days because that allows me to go into the 2000s for 1 or 2 days, which I know I'm planning on doing that. Friday, we're gonna go out to eat the Mexican. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna get margaritas and have 5 baskets of chips and get the greasiest thing. Probably just gonna get chicken and rice, arroz con pollo. Get the queso dip on the side, and then I should be able to have a decently proportioned meal. So yesterday, I had said, okay, Monday was a regular calorie day. Tuesday, I need to get back down to that 1600, so that Friday we can have fun. And then we accomplished that. Even with front loading the day, I normally don't have breakfast, but here you can see I did have my protein Pop-Tart, which I usually have later in the morning, but I also had this protein cereal, and just because I was feeling hungry for some reason. So that was all. I started the coffee with the workout, and then the breakfast I probably had like an hour or two later. For lunch, I tried to just pack in the protein. I added this cookies and cream protein bar at the beginning of lunch. It was in between breakfast and lunch. I don't know, I'm gonna eat this real quick before I get to lunch. I stuck it here because that's where it made sense. To try and pack in protein, I had this high protein ramen, which is like a crazy amount of protein for ramen. 32 grams to 200 of protein to 220 calories. So that helped. I threw in the rest of the leftover turkey breast from Thanksgiving, and obviously that's a lot of protein. And then when I was done with that, I just brought down another one of those protein bars, and then a small chocolate chip cookie, a mini one, protein bar. I brought those down with me to just snack on at my desk. Not technically officially part of lunch. These protein bars were intermediary snacks, but I didn't put them in the snacks category. I guess I could have, because I didn't put anything else there. So that left me with fewer calories available for dinner. So knowing that, I front loaded it with low calorie foods, carrots and pickles. And then we had some chicken stir fry, and I just left the rice out because I knew I didn't have the calories for it. I had a small portion. I finished off, finally, this Mexican cabbage soup with venison. Finished that off and then topped it off with some grapes for something sweet. And then I had my peppermint gum earlier in the day and then after dinner to again kind of help stave off the want to fill my belly with anything else. Because at that point I was at 1577 and I knew I wanted to stay at 1600. So that was that. Let's hit this weight and then we'll talk about the weigh-in. Apologize, I ran out of room on my memory card. Had to make some room real quick, so let's hit these real quick. throw the bench over there. And we're gonna start with 25 pounds. We'll see what my ref scheme is here in a sec. I'm starting to get warm. So we did Arnold Dumbbell Presses. Now we have side lateral raises. And again, we're gonna be shooting for that 8 to 12 rep range for these shoulder exercises especially. I believe last week we were at 20 pounds, and then the first set I think that we hit 12, so we bumped up in weight to 25. And I can't remember 100%, but I think we certainly didn't get back up to 12. I don't know, we maybe did 8 or 10, we'll see. And then once we get a break where we're not changing weights and stuff like that, we'll talk about the weigh-in for this morning and how this week is going. It's only Wednesday. It's only day 3 of week 7, but I like where we are. I think we're on track. All right, let's get this. Oh, I don't see how we could do any more than 10 right now. Yeah, last week we got 6 and 8, so that tracks. That makes sense. But yeah, real quick, we'll talk about our weigh-in this morning. Not there. We want weighed in at, wow, 193.9. I thought I was going to be 194 or something. Yesterday we were at 195.2, so you can see from last week after Thanksgiving where we had this big bump, and we're just finally starting to get back down to a lower water weight, body weight. So for this week we're averaging 195.4. We want to be averaging by the end of it 194.2. That will be our 2-pound goal. If you recall, our goal for this cut is 2 pounds per week. For 20 weeks, we want to lose 40 pounds. And so that should get us from 210 or 208, depending if you count just like a one-off weight, or if you count the first week's average. The first week I started, I averaged 208. There was obviously some deficit and workout and stuff going on, but so that would bring us down to 170 or 168 or something like that. So that's the goal we still have. We're on week 7, so we have 13 weeks after this, so that's 26 pounds. 26 pounds plus our goal weight of 170. Yeah, we should be at 196 right now, which we are. So I think we're looking okay. And it is My hack of a watch is going off, telling me it's time for set 2. Oh, 8. All right, last set for lateral raises. Oh, yeah, last one didn't happen. We're still gonna track it, and the app has 8, just for posterity. Let us know next week. That's what we're shooting for. Up next, we've got dumbbell curls, but yeah. My workout split is a push-pull legs, and some of you may be wondering, is it really? Because if you're doing, why do push-pull legs if you're only going to do each push and pull and leg day once? And my honest answer would be like, I guess technically today, I don't know, you could call today a push day, but bicep curls don't really fit into a traditional push or pull day or whatever. So I like to just go ahead and categorize this day as upper body and core. Even though you saw, I mean, we're doing overhead push press with dumbbells, and then we're doing side lateral raises. These are typically shoulder exercises, pushing exercises that you might consider push day. Likewise, maybe you consider bicep curls, maybe you consider that a pull movement. So we could have done that on another pull day or something like that. But for me, it's just easier to keep my push and pull days strictly pushing and strictly pulling. And not necessarily that I'm focusing just on chest on push day, like shoulders and triceps, other pushing movements, totally acceptable. And pull days, I guess most pulling movements are your back, but like we could be doing chin-ups, and that would be hitting our biceps as well. And pull-ups and lats are also, lat pull-downs are also hitting your biceps, triceps. And so all that to say, you don't have to do push-pull legs to have a push-pull legs split. You can do push-pull legs once and then augment with other days as well. Upper body, in my case. You could also do another lower body day. Probably sometime soon. I've talked about this. My back is one of my weaker spots, both in strength and in size. So I probably will at some point switch my push-pull legs to a like pull-push pull leg, or I'm gonna try and get 2 pull days, or I will switch my upper body day. I'll switch my days around to where my upper body day is not back to back with my pull day, and I can focus on more pull type upper body stuff. My timer hasn't gone off, and I think that's because I forgot to set it. So let's hit biceps. And we're doing 35 pounds at 8. So just like the first 3 sets of 8 to 12. We went up in weight last week, so we're at 8. If we can get more than that, great. And you notice I don't count. First of all, let me track it and start my timer so I don't forget. I don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. Each completion of both arms is 1. So 1, 1, 2, 2. It doesn't really matter. I could count that as 16, but to me it's not actually 16. It's each limb has only done 8, so that makes it a little bit more consistent for my tracking from my point of view. Yeah, I'm curious to know what splits other people do. I've got a good buddy of mine who does more of like full body stuff. Works for him, he's in great shape. And I've known people who do the bro splits and that works well. And I feel like I do a hybrid, like I'm not repeating workouts throughout the week. So that's like a bro splitty-esque, but I am getting I am repeating muscle groups. And I am not just focusing this week. This routine, my push day, is largely focused on chest. I do have the narrow grip bench press, which it focuses on triceps, but it's still a bench press, which is using your chest. So it just so happens to be that way. But like I said, I will do dedicated like shoulder presses, which is shoulder, and I will do tricep exercises as well. But yeah, anyway, all that, I'm curious to know what other people are doing, what has worked for you. And again, this is just what has worked for me, and you can argue amongst yourselves whether it's actually working or not. I like to think that I've built some muscle over the years. I'm not even down to like my 10% body fat goal yet, and I think you can start to see some striations in the delts. So the goal is to keep that size. Ideally over time we will increase it, but in this cut specifically we just want to reveal these muscles more. Reveal these muscles more, guys. That's what we're trying to do. All right, set 2. Alright, 8. Yeah, and don't hear the, oh, I've got striations, as like me being like, how great am I, or anything like that. I definitely have a long way to go. I'm definitely on the smaller side when it comes to people who work out and lift weights consistently. you can't even see like my bicep veins right now, and I'm like getting a full pump. So that tells me that I have a lot of body fat to lose still. Now, the scary thing about that is right now I don't really want to lose much size on the biceps, and it's always just a scary thing when you're cutting aggressively, is if I feel on the smaller side now, I'm just gonna feel even smaller. But these are the trade-offs of bulking and cutting. That's also why when I get down to this new body weight, my goal is not gonna be to do bulk cut cycles for a while. I'm gonna try and gaintain, as we say. I will probably deload for a couple of weeks on vacation, and so I might have to cut back a little bit after that for a week or two, but then I'll try to hit maintenance calories for the next few months after that and try and just become comfortable at that weight and see if we can start building muscle without putting on too much fat at maintenance, or like slightly above maintenance, slightly below maintenance, but hovering around maintenance. We've got one more set of dumbbell curls. I don't remember what's after this. Dips. If I recall, we did last week, we were like adding different weight. I think we're up to an additional 25 pounds on dips. We'll see how that goes today. Oh yeah. Okay. And as I'm talking about doing dips, I'm realizing, well yeah, no wonder your back is like underdeveloped. Your upper body day has more push than pull. So it just goes to show, like, yeah, I'm not like Mr. Bodybuilding expert. I have things to learn. I have things to grow from, both in a knowledge standpoint and a physical standpoint. So it'd be really cool if a year from now I'd be like, hey, remember when I was talking about my back not being as strong? Here's the improvement that we've made over a year. That's the thing to look for, not, oh man, that guy's back is way better than me, I suck. It's what did my back look like and feel like, and how much could I lift with it in December of 2025, and then December of 2026 being like, wow, I can do more than what I did last year. That's what we're looking for, people. All right, let me cut out here and get this set up for dips. All right, last week we did 25 pounds and we did 12 reps. So I'm anticipating probably being able to hit that again and then needing to add weight. So let's see. Yeah, so we got 13. So we'll definitely go up. And it makes sense. Like, I literally dropped like 1.5 pounds since when I did this last week. So, granted, some of that's like water weight or whatever, but it's still pounds. And I was talking about that last week, how I like adding weight so that I can more accurately track my progressive overload at a cut, because if you're just doing body weight, you're dropping weight so fast. But the reality is 25 pounds this week plus body weight is not the same as 25 pounds plus body weight last week. So it's almost like it's still a moving target, but it's okay. We'll tack on 5 pounds and we'll see how that feels. I got the weight on just so you can see what that looks like. I'm just wearing this belt, and it allows me to just add weights right to it. And our bodies are funny things, because I'm actually recalling, I think if I looked in my app, I think a couple years ago when I was doing dips, I think I was doing like 50 or 60 pounds at one point. And so I'm like walking around feeling like, oh, this is not as much as I remember. I remember feeling, oh, but I think my body's just readapting. I haven't done dips in a really long time before this workout routine. So I think we're just slowly building back up to what we were used to before. Yeah, I don't think 5 pounds is gonna do too much here. Let's see. Oh, I definitely felt it more that time, but we still hit 12, so I'm gonna bump it up again. So we did 30 pounds, we did 12. So yeah, I'm gonna swap out this 5 for a 10. Alright, so we got our 10 pounds back on there, so we're at 35 pounds of added weight, and yeah, I don't be surprised if we get to 12, since 12 felt good on the last rep, so this might be a good place for us to hang out for a few sets. We'll see in the coming weeks. Wow, 10 felt good. 10 felt good there. And like I said, our bodies are funny, because yes, that's 35 pounds today, but in 5 weeks, when we've lost 10 pounds, we're just gonna be needing to add 10 more pounds. So you can see how in just a matter of weeks, I'll probably get up to that 50 or 60 pounds like I was talking about, like I was doing last time I was doing dips. So, all right, we need to tear this down so we can do our next workout. And we just have crunches left, so I'll just go ahead and tear down the rest of this while talking to you. The astute people in the audience might have noticed I tried to cut out a little bit of time this workout session. Sorry, this goes right above the camera. Hello. Yeah, I tried to purposely cut out some of the rest today, just so that it's not you all listening to me pant like I am right now the whole time. Yeah, and then try to cut down on the overall length and time of the video. That will obviously cut the time of the video down, but inevitably there'll be less content, a little less maybe like information, maybe a little less rambling. So I'm curious what you all think. Do we like that? You might have noticed in the last video I also added in some lo-fi hip-hop in the background just for some vibes. I myself don't listen to any music while I work out. I find that I focus fine without it. I think if I really needed to dig down deep, I'd listen to, I don't know what I'd listen to, honestly. But I'm just going from a more chill gym vibe than like heavy metal or something. So let me take this mic off, and we're shooting for a 45. Alright, we got 50. And obviously this is a lot different rep scheme than my other lifts. It's a different workout. If I wanted to do weighted resistance training for my abs, I would do crunches, weighted crunches with the pulley machine. That's one that I like for getting lower reps and higher weight. Or instead of crunches with the legs up, I'd anchor my feet to the bar or to the squat rack and just hold a plate. And that's how I would get resistance on that. But I haven't worked on abs in a while. I cut them out just for time. Like I was just doing my push-pull legs. I wasn't doing anything on Wednesdays and Fridays as far as like upper body or core at all for a while, just because I was really busy at work. I just needed the extra time. I was logging on to work early and stuff. But they're back, and I can feel that they felt neglected because I started out this routine. I think I started at like 20 or 25, and we're slowly have worked our way up to where 50 is feeling like a good stimulus, so that's a good sign. But and you may say, you don't need to work abs. You work abs when you do squat and when you do bench and deadlift. And yes, there's some truth to that, but it doesn't hurt to also work your abs just like any other muscle. People will say abs are made in the kitchen. If you get in a calorie deficit and lose the body fat, you'll see your abs. And I would argue that abs are revealed in the kitchen. Yes, they're always there underneath the fat, but they can be worked and they can be grown just like any other muscle. Maybe not just like any other muscle. That's where I'll stop and say I'm not a nutrition or a hypertrophy scientist, so as I'm saying this, I think, oh, I'd actually be interested to look into studies on hypertrophy and the abdominals. I wonder what that looks like. Because certainly they become stronger as you work them, but do they get bigger? Because as far as I know, like your inserts, your ab inserts, like how many abs you have and like generally what their shape are, just like your bicep muscle, like your muscles have a certain predisposition like that you are born with genetically. That's like the shape that they will be. But like your biceps can grow. I don't know off the top of my head. Do your abs grow bigger? What does that look like? Do they grow outward in size? I don't know. I'm gonna look that up and let you know. All right, set 2 of the crunches. I forgot to set my timer, but I'm sure it's been 2 minutes. Let's get 50 again. I admittedly lost count. I think that's about 50. It was either 40, 50, or 60. Somewhere around there. But got one more of these and that'll be the end of the workout today. Thanks for joining. One more note about abs. I talked about what I would do if I wanted to do some weight resistance training on abs. I mentioned the cable crunch. I mentioned just weighted sit-ups. If I had a decline sit-up, a station or a GHD, a decline, especially weighted decline, will really work your abs. I remember doing that one time as a part of a CrossFit workout and literally feeling like the next day and the next week that my abs are just gonna fall off of my body. So be careful if you are going for those. Start ease into it. But another workout that I really like is the McGill 3 or the Big McGill 3. And Squat University, Dr. Aaron Horschig is really big on the McGill 3 for good reason, because we talked about squat and bench and deadlift, how those work your abs, because you're in an isometric hold, right? You're tensing up your core while still breathing as you go down so that you have a stable base. The example he gives is a soda can, like one that's empty and how it just, if you put pressure on the top, it collapses. But a full soda can that hasn't been opened has a lot of pressure built up on the inside, and thus when you press on it, it doesn't collapse, or at least it can take more pressure. So that same principle applies in our core compound lifts. And you can train that motion, or that lack of motion almost, with the Big McGill 3. And that's it is a like lifted head raise, and it's all just isometric holds that you just hold it for a few seconds while controlling your breathing. It's side planks and then bird dogs. And so it's actually in my programming for my Friday workout. If I ever get around to doing a Friday workout on video, we'll talk about it some more. But yeah, big shout out to Squat University, Dr. Aaron Horschig. He's also here in St. Louis. But yeah, all right, let's get this last set of crunches and we'll log off. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all she wrote for today. I will see you next time. Tomorrow is leg day for week 7. Until then.